Good evening to you all. We welcome you all to the today virtual event on management principles from Indian epics and MS Excel in various scenarios whilst dealing with our compliance work. SARC of ICA welcome all the member to this virtual event. Please stay for a motto song.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
We are privileged to have two distinguished individuals among us, CA Roopa Venkatesh and CA Bharath Gupta. I would like to introduce CA Roopa Venkatesh. Madam is a unique combination of chartered accountant, qualified HR expert, certified ISO auditor, and accomplished author, and a well-acknowledged speaker. Prior to co-founding T8, Madam held senior management positions in various industry segments, trading different roles and functions. As a HR consultant, Madam helps companies recruit talent and manage them. She is an active consultant helping set up various HR process in companies in various geographies. She is sought after speaker and trainer at educational institutions and is widely traveled. She has authored books on various subjects like attitudinal focus, success achievement, living an inspired life, management principles from Indian epics. Her most recent book is Cancer, a comma, not a full stop, an experiential book which gives excellent information, practical advice, support, help, and confidence to those diagnosed and the family and friends of the cancer patients. All proceeds of the book go towards creating cancer awareness or charity. Madam has recently been given a place in the prestigious Limca Book of Records, being the author of the play on cancer, written, directed, and acted by cancer survivors. Madam has presented papers and spoken at international conferences on the subject of management, Indian perspective, management principles based on Indian epics. Madam founded T8 International and managed the Indian Support and Research and Development Center of T8, based out of Bangalore. She now has moved to Mysore permanently and devoted her time to patients, writing and training and speaking. And also, I would like to introduce CA Bharath Gupta also, was a past chairman of Bellary branch of SIRC of ICA, having around 14 years experience in practicing as professional, associated with many NGO as officer, have taken 100 batches of classes to chartered accountancy students, training thousands of students in the areas of professional equity, perception management, communication skills, leadership skills, how to focus on emerging areas, etc. Also a trainer to student in the field of information and technology area, especially how to optimize our audit ascertains using technology. Area of interest in practice, consultancy in GST, project finance, formation services, apart from assurance services. Presented papers also at various forums. With this brief introduction, SIRC of ICA welcome both the speakers to the today virtual program. On behalf of SIRC of ICA, we thank both the speakers to accept our invitation for this virtual program. Over to the speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm assuming everybody can see my screen. Will somebody confirm? Yeah, great. Now, first of all, a big thanks to ICAI and SIRC of ICAI for one taking on an interesting subject like this, which is a little hatke from the regular subject. Nevertheless, it is no less important for all of us to learn from every way which we can, which is also the motto, let knowledge come to us from every direction. Keeping in line from that, let us learn something from the epics. What happens most of the time is we think that the epics are grantha or something which was there in the past. Yeah, maybe it is to be revered, maybe we should be in awe of it. But I believe that anything, if we can learn from it, that is when it is really valuable. So let's hope to see what are the lessons we can learn from the epics. And here by the epics, I mean primarily the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. So I'm looking at an Indian perspective for management principles. If you will notice or remember, management principles have been set down by various Western economists and others. Some of them, of course, we have studied in colleges. And they have set down, let's say, about 14 management principles. The principles are actually the same. And let's see what's an Indian perspective about it. The Western thought is that it's a very materialistic approach, meaning that which cannot be measured is not valuable or does not exist. How true is that? Is something which I'm sure all of us have at various points in time considered. It has a strong base in rationalism. Like in economic theory, we have learned that man is a rational person and he will take decisions based on rational behavior. However, all of us know for a fact that rationalism does not always exist. We want to behave rationally, but we are subject to various other pressures which remove the edge of rationalism. We also believe, the Western philosophy believes that there is a perennial thirst for profit. That means if there is an organization, profit is and will be its only motive, which all of us will agree is not completely true. There are organizations, there are associations, there are circumstances where profit is not the key. And like I mentioned before, they have a strong preference for measurement. How much, not how or what. So these are some of the primary differences between Indian thought and Western thought, because Indian thought is highly subjective. This will work if, so there's a comma, and then we will qualify that statement, and that is how we understand various aspects of our business. Now when I say business, I mean business of being, business of life. In everything, whether it is economic or non-economic, there is a lot of subjectiveness or subjectivity in what we do. And Indian thought or Indian management principles believe that it is true. They have a more holistic view. For example, if you look at the Ramayana or Mahabharata, by individual pieces, say that it is violent. People may say that there is a lot of cunning involved, that there is a lot of wrongdoing. But what is the holistic view? The holistic view is that on the whole, the purpose or the end was to achieve larger good. Isn't that true of all of our activities? Many times we are very strict with our children. But we don't want to punish them, but sometimes we do. Why do we do it? Because we have this holistic view that by such behavior, that child will learn the difference between good and evil, will learn how to behave, will learn lessons of life. So we are taking a more holistic view rather than looking at each event as a transaction. Acceptance of fuzzy logic of behavior and high preference for human element. This is what Indian perspective about management is. Now, many of you might be thinking, like I had thought before, where is Indian management principle? There is no such book which says this is Indian management principle. Like we have books on Western thought. Okay, we have Adam Smith, we have Keynes. We all of them have actually put down that these are the management principles. For Indian management principles, yes, we don't have a particular book which is titled so. But if you look at the epics, and if you look at it completely dispassionately, suppose you don't want to get engaged in the religious aspect of it, look at it only practically. It is nothing but a wonderful encyclopedia of management, of principles, of ways of behavior. So there is a high preference for human element. Then there are people who ask me, Mahabharata is primarily about war. Where is the war? In the today's circumstances, where is the war? There is no war which you and I are fighting. But is that true? Are we not all in a war? The corporate or a business world is a battlefield. Battlefield doesn't mean that we are going to kill each other. Each one of us needs to succeed. And today, especially in the corporate world, it is about how much resources can I get, because the resources are finite. There's only a limited amount of resource. How to get the best of those resources? Isn't that a war? We are all fighting that war. We are all part of it. Sometimes we are leaders. Sometimes we are just alongside the war. Sometimes maybe just listening to the commentary. But yet, we cannot deny that the business world is a battlefield. And the CEOs are the army in chief, commanders. Because they have to lead. They have to decide which way to take their business. Now, this business doesn't need to be a multi-million-dollar business or, a huge conglomerate. Every business is a complete entity by itself. Every such business needs to grow. I'm sure even if you are having a practice, you are planning how to grow, how to become bigger, how to become better. So this is a war, and this is each of us are CEOs, or we are all commanders, if you will. And what is it? We always have this constant dilemma. We are fighting for, or we are we are working towards, we are always thinking about short term or long term. Should I look at the short term benefit or not of doing something? Isn't this what all of us think? Every one of us, whether we are running a practice firm, whether we are employed with another person, however we are situated in life, we are thinking short term or long term. Which is more beneficial? How should I look at it? Individual versus organization. Let's say you're an employee in an organization. Organization has a certain goal, but you as an individual also have a certain goal. And sometimes there is a dilemma in the two. They don't necessarily go hand in hand, which is why we have individuals who may have a dream that they want to go from this place to a certain level. And maybe they want to become, let us say, they want to become an entrepreneur. So they will be the organization. So there's a constant dilemma. There's a constant fight. There's a war. There is also a constant dilemma or a situation of making a decision. Goals are more important than means. Is means so important that I should forget about the goal? These are very existential problems. How many of us are constantly dealing with this? Sometimes we are tempted to take a shortcut and we think, oh, my goal is the big one, right? Because my goal is big, because my goal is about doing good to others, I can take a shortcut. I'm sure many of us have been tempted. I'm sure many of us have thought about this. So these are areas where the epics have a lot to teach us. Just to give you kind of a context, what is the truth of the yugas? We say that there are 4 yugas. One is the Sat Yuga, where the good and the evil lived in 2 different worlds, right? So all the bad people, so to speak, the villains, they lived in another world and they would come and attack the Sat Yuga, the other world. And then because of that fight, the good will win over the evil. Then came Treta Yuga. The good and the evil lived in the same world, like in a Ramayana. In Ramayana, which was in Treta Yuga, Rama and Ravana lived in the same world. They lived separately, but they lived in the same world. Then there was a war between Rama and Ravana. Ravana was defeated, and truth was established, good was established. So that was Treta Yuga. Then we came to Dwapara Yuga. The good and evil lived in the same family. The Kauravas and Pandavas are sons of the Kurus. So see how the good and evil are coming closer and closer, and yet conflict remains. The conflict is always constant, whether it is between one world and another, between different places of the same world, or between people of the same family. And it is believed that the Kali Yuga, the good and the bad will live in the same person. And they say that we are now in Kali Yuga. So which means that the good and the bad are within us. So this war between good and bad is now in our doorstep. It is at us. We cannot say what happened in Mahabharata or Ramayana doesn't apply to us because it happened hundreds and thousands of years ago. If we believe that there is a Yuga and that there is a Kali Yuga, that means the war is upon us. We have to be the good and defeat the evil. Just some trivia. I'm going to run through this slide. We believe that this was written, Mahabharata especially, around 4000 to 6000 BC. There is no perfect dating, as many scholars do not agree. It has been narrated 3 times. Once it was called Jaya. Vyasa dictated it to Ganesha, who wrote it down. Later, it was Bharata. It was narrated by Vaishampayana to Janmejaya, and there's a beautiful story which goes with it. Then later it was called Mahabharata, which was recited by Sutta Puranika, or the Southis, to the rishis at Naimisharanya. It has some mind-boggling revelations. What, excuse me, astronomy, existence of Uranus and Neptune, before people even knew that there was a thing called astronomy, has been mentioned in these texts. Geography, lands as far as Cambodia, it used to be called, Kazakhstan, Scandinavia, which was called Uttarakuru, and USA, called Kraunchadvipam. All these places are mentioned. Yes, maybe they were not USA. Excuse me for a second, I'll just go and get a glass of water. Sorry about that. Mathematics. We have numbers to the range of 10 raised to the powers of 16 and minus 16. I mean, how far ahead were we in mathematics? There are descriptions of weapons which resemble modern day weaponry, including nuclear and chemical weapons. We have complex military formations and strategies. Philosophy, psychology, sociology, spirituality, religion, politics, management. I mean, the whole works. All this is there as hidden gems in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and it is up to us to mine them and find them. Okay, let's look at the army logistics. Mahabharata, there were, the Kauravas had 11 Akshohini Sena. That's how it is mentioned, whereas the Pandavas had 7 Akshohini Sena. One Akshohini was, I mean, it was all very clear. People didn't say, I have a large army. They said, I have a one Akshohini army or two Akshohini army. One Akshohini meant 21,870 chariots, the same number of elephants, 65,610 horses, and a lakh and odd foot soldiers. And this was the ratio. So, of course, the question arises, if Kauravas had 11 Akshohini, why did they not win? Another lesson, that numbers don't ensure victory or success. In the Ramayana, the army numbers are expressed in numbers to the power of 10. In verse 4 of Yudhakanda, it is described the Rama army comprising of monkeys and bears was depicted in such a mathematical manner. Ravana's army is also described as having 10,000 elephants, 10,000 chariots, 20,000 cavalry, and about 1 crore infantry. And apart from this, each Rakshasa also had so many retinue members. They each had a different army. So we are talking of huge numbers, and the way they represent numbers shows the control they had over mathematics and various aspects of algebra. So they spoke in real numbers. They spoke in a manner which was commonly understood as a standard. Okay. The war itself of the Mahabharata lasted 18 days, 10 days Bhishma, 3 days Drona was the leader, 1.5 days Karna was the leader. For half a day they had no general, because after Karna died, they weren't too sure who to make the general. For 1 day it was Shalya, and for 1 night it was Ashwatthama. On the 18th night, Ashwatthama slaughtered the Pandava camp in their sleep, and therefore was cursed by Krishna, and we know all the rest of the story. In case of the Ramayana, the war between Rama and Ravana lasted 7 days. Many of us sometimes don't know. It is mentioned that 320 million died in the Lankan army, because in the Rama army, when the monkeys and bears died, Rama was able to bring them back to life. It is said so. So now let's look at what are the lessons, what are the takeaways. Bharath, I'm borrowing your word. What are the takeaways? One of the takeaways, or one of the management lessons from both Ramayana and Mahabharata, is prepare in advance. What should you prepare? You should prepare the resources, you should build the alliances, you should develop skills, and you should acquire knowledge. This is preparation in advance. Don't we do all of this to build our businesses? I'm sure we do. So what did they do for the preparation of the war? Where do we take these lessons from? Kauravas. Once the war was imminent, Karna went on a countrywide military mission. He subdued different kingdoms and acquired wealth, which was good. For waging a war, you need money. But it meant a loss both in terms of both men and money, and obviously they created new enemies. War fatigue had set in. So always there is a pro and a con. The benefit was that they got a lot of money, they got a large enough pieces of land, but it also meant that they had created a war fatigue. However, what did the Pandavas do? Now you imagine a situation where the Pandavas, they didn't have any army, they didn't have a kingdom, so they had nothing to rely on. So what did they do? So though they were in exile, I'm sure nobody needs to be reminded, there was a game of dice in which the Kauravas and Pandavas played. The Pandavas were defeated, and Kauravas set a condition that for 13 years you should go to be in exile, and the last year you should remain incognito. That was the condition. So while they were in exile, they were in the forest, where to build an army, where to create the preparation, because they knew that no matter what happens, it's only a question of when. It is not a question of if. There will be a war. They kind of knew it, because the way Duryodhana was refusing to give them their fair share, they realized that one day or the other war will. So they began to turn their attention to improving their weakness. Arjuna went and got the Divyastras. He did penance, he prayed to the lords, he defeated many people to acquire the Divyastras. So what did Bhima do? Bhima met Hanuman and got a blessing of enhanced strength. Bhima was already strong, but he got more strength from Hanuman. And Hanuman also said, though I will not participate in the war, I will be on your side, which was a big confidence creator for the Pandavas. And Yudhishthira, he acquired the teachings from various rishis, but he also learned the game of dice from Chitrasen. And later it is said, though a bit late in the day, you may say, nobody could defeat Yudhishthira in the game of dice. But unfortunately, if he had only acquired this skill earlier, maybe the Mahabharata war wouldn't have happened. But anyway, what I believe that the lesson which we have to take is, when we are looking towards the future, not only should we build on our strengths, we should also try to overcome our weaknesses. Each of us can sit down, hand on our heart, realize which are the areas I am lacking, and work on that to at least achieve a level of reasonable capability. Of course, we have to work on our strengths also. If we are good at something, we should continue to hone that skill and build on it so that we become much more expert at that. But I had to ask this question. Who will be the timekeeper, please? Because I tend to go on and I love storytelling. I may not stop. Will somebody be the timekeeper?
Yeah, fine. I'll be there.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, because you go next. So please ensure that 5 minutes past 6, do let me know that I have to stop.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Thank you. Now let's look at the next lesson we can all learn from. See, I mean, one can take all the 14 management principles and draw from stories from the Ramayana and Mahabharata and learn. That is the way my book of the same name has been created. But here I have taken a slightly different approach. I have taken the lesson, which I think we all need to learn, and picked out aspects of the Ramayana and Mahabharata and worked out how it is so important to us. And it is highlighting these epics, which talk about success, which talk about human failings, which talk about various aspects. The next lesson I have picked up is networking. I know I shouldn't be saying this, but I believe that chartered accountants particularly need to work on this skill much more than we currently are. Networking is crucial. Not all of us can do all the things which our clients expect us to do. So networking with co-professionals, but networking with professionals of another area is absolutely crucial to our success. And networking is a great tool. It can, it's like putting 2 and 2 and making 22. You don't have to make it 4. You can make it 22. So there can be an exponential growth if we understand and use networking. And networking cannot be created in a day. You cannot say, oh, for 1 year from now, I want to become X, so I will start networking today. Networking is a long-term game. It is something you have to work on, and you have to put a lot of yourself into it. Okay? Alliances, friends, these are very important. Let's see what the Kauravas did. Kauravas, we know they lost the war. But they had 11 Akshohini Sena. They had some great stalwarts. They were the greatest empire of that time. But sadly, they did not have many powerful allies. Their only allies were kingdoms which were married into that family. So Gandhara, because the Gandhari was married into the Kuru family, so they became an alliance. Though Shakuni it is said that Shakuni did not want the Kauravas to win. He was like a termite eating away at the base of everything which was polished in the Kuru kingdom. So they had an ally in Gandhara. They also had an ally in Sindhu, where Jayadratha was king. Jayadratha was married to Dushala, who was their sister. So he was the brother-in-law. And so Sindhu was aligned. It was a powerful kingdom, no doubt. So they were aligned with the Kauravas. They also had Cambodia, which was ruled at that time by Bhagadatta, an extremely accomplished warrior. It is said that he was older by many years of Bhishma. He was older than Bhishma. That's what they say. They say that the skin on his forehead because he was very old, it had come down, and he used to use a silk thread to tie the skin back. And when Bhima kills him, Bhima is told that you should snap that silk thread. When the skin will come down, he will not be able to see. That time you have to kill him, because there's no other way to kill Bhagadatta. So that kind of powerful kings were along with the Kauravas, but there were not too many of them. In the Pandavas, they didn't have any kingdom, they did not have wealth, they did not have power, but they had powerful allies all over. They had married Draupadi, so Panchala, which was a very important, both geographically and power-wise, very important kingdom in central India. So Panchala was their ally. Dwarka was their ally because Arjuna had married Subhadra, Krishna's sister. Magadha, through the marriage of Sahadeva with Vijaya, because Magadhan king Jarasandha was defeated through the machinations of Krishna, and Bhima tore him apart, and Jarasandha was killed. Jarasandha's grandson was Megha-Sandhi, and Megha-Sandhi's younger brother was Sahadeva. Younger sister was Vijaya, who married Sahadeva. So Magadha, after the demise of Jarasandha, became allied with the Pandavas. Chediraj, of course, Shishupala, I'm sure we all remember. Shishupala was anti-Pandava, but Shishupala was killed by Krishna. Then Nakula was married with Shishupala's sister, Karnamai. And so Chedi also became an ally or a friend of the Pandavas. Kashi, because Bhima married Jalandhara. Now we all know that very interesting story. Duryodhana married Bhanumati. Bhanumati's younger sister was Jalandhara, and Bhima was hell-bent on marrying Jalandhara only to spite Duryodhana because he had married the other sister. Also, once Bhanumati died, there was a practice that the younger sister would marry the brother-in-law. But Jalandhara refused to marry Duryodhana, which kind of was not, obviously not palatable for Duryodhana. But anyway, Bhima marries Jalandhara. So Kashi also becomes an ally of the Pandavas. And Kashi was very important because Kashi was believed to be the center place, one, of the Deccan Plateau, two, of all the learning and the rishis and all the wise people apparently went through or lived in Kashi. Yudhishthira married Devika, and so Kekaya, the kingdom, became an ally of Pandava. Abhimanyu married Uttara, so Matsya Desha became an ally of Pandavas. The Rakshasas became an ally of Bhima because Bhima married Hidimba. Now, this is a very interesting thing. It struck me that when you go through things like this, what did the Pandavas do to create allies? Used themselves because they had nothing else to use. They married properly. They married within the framework which was set at that time. They married so that they can build good alliances. I don't know whether one should say that, oh, they did not marry for love. They only married for political machinations, or they only married to get political gain. Maybe that is true. But what is important to remember is allies are important, not how we create those allies. Arjuna married Ulupi, and so the Nagas also became their allies or friends. So they had so many. Now, all of the, other than Panchala and Magadha, none of the other kingdoms were very large, nor were they very famous and powerful. But they were very crucial to the whole scheme of things. So you can imagine in a war, the geographical position is very, very crucial, very important. That's what the Pandavas used. Now, one more principle of resource management is resources. How to manage the resource, how to get and how to manage the resources. Now, if you look at the Ramayana, Rama had no army. Though he was born a king, he did not become a king because he had to leave. He had to go on a 14-year exile. He did not have an army, but he only had a monkey army. Now, I don't mean ill about the monkeys, so to speak, but monkey army, when we say, they are not an organized, disciplined, trained army. Because they were going to fight against who? Ravana's army, which was believed to be one, extremely rich and very disciplined, extremely well-trained. Because Ravana himself was a great warrior and strategist. So, Rama only had a monkey army, monkey and bears. Yet, within those resources, he was able to win the war, which means the lesson we have to take is, it is not what you have that matters. It is what you do with what you have that matters. Now, many times, I remember my friends saying, oh, I don't have this, so I cannot become, I cannot practice in that way. I do not have money, I don't have an office, I don't have X or Y or Z. So again and again, I remember that it is not what you have that will give you success. It is what you do with what you have which will give you success. Women. I know people will kind of smile and smirk when I say this, one, because I'm a woman. But if you look, one of the reasons which some scholars have pointed out is that the Kauravas lost the war because they didn't have women in any of that decision making. Satyavati had retired. Gandhari was not listened to because she was anti-war. She said, don't wage this war. They wouldn't listen to her, so they cut her out. And there was nobody else who they would listen to. Whereas if you look at the Pandava army, Kunti, the mother, she was a very strong woman. She managed to keep all the 5 brothers together who had very different personalities. So each of them would have possibly gone a different way, which meant they would not have had the power. But Kunti managed to keep them together. She understood each person, each of her sons' capabilities, and managed to complement each other. Draupadi was also one very important decision maker as far as the Mahabharata was concerned. Of course, there are people who say that it was because of Draupadi that the war was waged. That, I believe, is a very debatable point. But it is a fact that Draupadi was very clear that she wanted people to be punished, those who had done wrong, right? So she ensured that she kept reminding the people concerned that certain things cannot be forgiven. Not for her. In fact, at one point in time, she says, this revenge or this desire to punish is not for me. It is for time to come. If a woman is abused, if a woman is ill-treated, punishment must follow. So this kind of power or this kind of resource helped the Pandavas actually win the war. We had Bhima's Ghatotkacha. Ghatotkacha was another resource. He came from a Rakshasa background. So being a Rakshasa, he was not included in the traditional army sense. But yet, he was a great resource. And he was such a great resource that he was able to fight the war even at night using skills which Pandava army did not have. Pandava army did not have the skill of Maya, which Ghatotkacha had. Let's call it black magic, let's call it whatever. Arjuna's son Abhimanyu, he was also a great resource. Technically, he was only 17 years old. That's what this. He was very young. It's not about the age, but he was a young boy. And yet, he was a great resource to ensure that much of the war progressed in a manner that finally led to the benefit of the Pandavas. Now, this is a very crucial aspect which all of us, every single one of us, needs to understand. We all have individual goals and we all have organizational goals. And we, in our own wisdom, think that they are the same. Often they are not. And when they are not, success. If your organization or place where you're working, or even if you are running the place, you have a certain view, but individually you do certain things that don't necessarily match. This could be shown in many different ways. The way we employ people, the way we borrow money, the way we treat employees, the way we say our organizational goal is to, treat all employees with great respect, okay, and transparent. This is what most organizational people will tell you that their goal is. But individually, most of the CEOs, most of the CEOs do not actually behave in this manner. So their individual goal is, or their individual feeling or individual behavior does not align with the organizational goal because they disrespect people who are lesser in stature to themselves. What happened to the organizational goal? One has to think. So let's see what happened with regard to the Mahabharata. Bhishma. What was the goal of the Mahabharata war? Very obviously, both sides, they felt that they have to win. Obviously, when a war is waged, each side feels that they should win. But Bhishma was very clear. When they started discussions about the war had been declared. And when Duryodhana speaks to Bhishma, Bhishma says, I will participate in the war because I am beholden to the kingdom. I will protect the kingdom. So therefore, I will participate in the war. But because I consider the Pandavas as children of this family, I will not kill any of them. I will kill the soldiers. I will wage the war, but I will not kill the Pandavas. Now, what kind of war is that? You tell me. When you put conditions that I will do this, but I won't do that, success cannot come. Look at Drona. Drona is another great warrior of the Mahabharata. He is on the Kaurava side. He says, yes, I will wage the war. I will fight, but whatever happens, I will not kill Arjuna. So Drona has a different view on the whole, situation of winning. Shalya is fighting on the wrong side because he has been tricked. He is actually the mama of Nakula and Sahadeva. Shalya is the brother of Madri. Madri is the mother of Nakula and Sahadeva. But he has been tricked by Duryodhana into fighting on his side. Shalya doesn't want the Kaurava to win. But because he's put in a situation where he has to fight on that side, he is not towards winning. He's trying to find ways in which he can ensure that the Kauravas don't win. We have Karna for any number of reasons. One, of course, is that he has given this promise to his mother that I will ensure that you have 5 sons alive. Whether I will be killed or Arjuna will be killed, one of them will die, but you will still have 5 sons. So Karna is focused only on killing Arjuna. Through the war, 4 times, he has a chance to kill Yudhishthira and Nakula and Sahadeva and Bhima, but he does not. In fact, Bhima gets angry with Karna and says, why are you not killing me? Why are you letting me go? And Karna smiles and turns chariot. There's such a description. Why? Because Karna is not focused on winning the war. Karna is focused only on killing Arjuna. Nothing else. See, you see how the difference is. Of course, I can go on about the Pandava side. On the Pandava side, everyone decided we have to win the war. We have to kill the Pandavas, the Kauravas. We have to kill Bhishma. With hand on our heart, we'll feel very bad about it, but we know we have to kill Bhishma, we have to kill Drona, we have to kill people, or we have to defeat them. But they were all focused on only one thing, winning the war, and which is why focus is so crucial. So in summary, what I'd like to say is that the management principles in the Indian thought have accepted that man will have so many shortcomings. And so when a king is in such a situation, or when the leader is in such a situation, he can either behave like this or he can behave like that. So there is an option, meaning there is an understanding that human beings have issues which are sometimes not just black and white. And the Indian perspective, the Indian management principles has always been on larger good rather than personal gain. Left to himself, Yudhishthira even said, I am willing to keep quiet. I don't want the war. That was his personal gain. I don't want war. I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to live by myself. Give me one hut, I'll live there. But what was the larger good? The larger good was that the war is done. Those who have done or lived or worked with adharma, they have to be destroyed. A new order has to be set in. That is the larger good. So the war is actually a way of telling us that war, though it is causing bloodshed, it is causing a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, sometimes a war is necessary. So that time we are looking at larger good, not personal gain. There is a better appreciation of Indian thought and values of late, which is why today we are having this discussion, which is a good sign. And I believe, interestingly, more and more people from all over the world are studying up. They are talking about our management principles. They are talking about what lessons we can learn, either from the Ramayana, from the Mahabharata, from the Bhagavad Gita, and see how we can apply it in today's life. This, I believe, is a very welcome move. And I think born Indians, we should be very proud and we should continue this trend. I do hope I've been able to kind of share some principles with you. And I do hope you will take it in your stride. And if you have any questions, I think after the second session, maybe we can have some questions. Over to you, Bharath.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Fantastic, Rupa, for the wonderful session.
Thank you.
Friends, let's give a loud applause. Type clap in the chat box, please, for Roopa madam.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll start by thanking SIRC for providing me this platform. It's like fantastic to be connected with you guys. As you know, madam said, I'll just borrow some words from Roopa madam. What she said. She said, like, where is the fight? The fight is with corporates, madam said. Actually, like, the fight is with ourselves nowadays, since we have like deliverables, which is needed, no matter what. Threshold time, we have to do our work, no matter what, right? Because the forms of, like non-compliance is so huge that we can't even afford. Take it, it's universal. Take it, like either it may be like a income tax where you don't file your tax audit return. It may be GST, like you don't, like file returns in time, or the MCA, where like probably like the meter is so high that many companies have shelled out like almost lakhs together. So one thing is common. Compliance is like a mandatory, mandatory, like, and no one has any escape. In that case, it is very important, or it is onerous on us to be like, like embracing technology. If you don't embrace, what happens is like you are so much lost in work that you may miss the bus. So the theme is work smart instead of like working hard. Working hard should be there. Working hard plus working smart. That's the way. Based on this premise, I'll be like starting off, my presentation. Yeah, is my screen visible, please? Anyone can affirm me?
No, sir, it is not visible.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Okay. Now,
Wait. Yes, now
Yeah.
visible, sir.
Yes.
yeah. So let's, straight away dive deeply. Since I have like only 1 hour, I thought like, like I've structured my presentation in such a way that many used case studies, where I have applied to my work, I'm just bringing out for the benefit of everyone. It will be like kind of the theme here is more of, like I'm not doing you like the teaching more. I am here to sensitize you guys, like or like open up, I'll give you a hang of, like the areas you need to look. Based on this premise, I've structured my presentation. So let's go. Yeah, you can say like rules of engagement of this class and some disclaimers. Any contrary view is welcome. I know whatever I am putting to the best of my knowledge. Yeah. Let's make this an interactive session, because maximum takeaways only like, I think like, let me check with the organizers. Everyone can unmute and talk, right? Yeah, can anyone try, like unmuting and speaking, please? Any of the audience?
Sir, your slides are visible well. There's no problem. You can go ahead.
No. I am just trying to like get a feedback, like whether you can speak or not, whether the settings is permitted. Yeah. So fine.
Participants can speak. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So like anyone, like where they need any, what I can say, like any more clarity, can prompt me in between. Unless like, in case like the time is like going too much, I reserve the right just to like take over or override. Yeah. A few files, even though I tried to mask them, these belongs to client, even I have taken their consent, but kindly respect the confidentiality. This is only for the illustrative purpose I am using. And there is a quote, what happens in Vegas remains in Vegas. Whatever I am telling is confined only to this, in that premise. Yeah. I reserve the right of, prerogative, like, in order to choosing which subject to go based on the like time I have. These are the rules of engagement. Yes. Let's go. Yeah. Can anyone tell me like, like what does this mean? WND is equal to WND. Anyone? Okay, forget it. No, WND stands for working notes not done is equal to WND work not done. Agree or not, guys? So as you know, SA 230, which talks about like documentation. I'm not here to like tell accounting, I mean auditing standard, but like we do have a all the standards of auditing which we need to like abide. So in that context, I would believe like like the session which I am taking makes perfect sense, because Excel we can use it like for the purpose of like maintaining our working notes. It's always like easy, and it's always like within us. I mean like probably like every laptop or like every system of yours has an MS Excel, and we are tuned it. I mean like they say I think many of you heard this term called ICDS, right? Income Computation and Disclosure Standard. I'm sure like everyone heard this. In that, like D stands for disclosure, right? Disclosure is MS Word. And the C is computation, right? Computation is more of MS Excel. Yeah, so that's how it is. Next, coming to like new role of CA, it doesn't matter, like how much is your hard skills. I mean, like how much technical expertise you have, like in command over various subjects, because now we have like level playing field. Thanks to like AI, now we have like the World War I of technology, which is in progress, where DeepSeek versus you have like a Chat GPT running, and you have like an Alibaba or some other company where they are launching some their own platform. The war is intense, and level playing field. I mean, like a person may be like having like 20 years of experience or 30 years of experience. Still, it's leveling. I mean, like thanks to like the AI, which can like give that much kind of this thing. Fine. Let me start straight away. Like now the theory part is done. Let's go straight away, like to the practical. Yeah, let me like start off sharing the screen. Yeah, I'll just give a like one warm up before yeah, by the way, like like I'm using MS Office 365. I don't know, like I mean, like few may have like different versions of it. Just thought to like tell. See, by the way, like I want a confirmation, please. And is the Excel sheet visible? Kindly anyone affirm, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want a status check. Is the Excel sheet like you're able to see it? Yeah. I got an affirmation. Yes. See, if you see here, I have like data like this. Now, say assume that like customer A, customer B, customer C, customer D. We have like 5 customers. Now the task is I need to like fill all this date and all the amount for every instance. Imagine like like this. I want to use a pivot chart using this. In case there is like blanks, I cannot use a pivot chart. Am I right? So in this scenario, can anyone like tell me like how to fill? I want like a 1/1/2025 to be filled at this all the 4 instances, and 847 to be filled in all the instances of customer A. Wherever customer B is there, similarly like that, and it goes on. In just one click of a button, can anyone tell me like how to like fill it? Okay, considering the time, like I'll just do it myself. By the way, one of the important function key you need to like understand is there is something called as Control, Shift, and End. I repeat, Control, Shift, and End. This is one of the like important function, you can say, like you need to like use it many a times. what basically it does is it will select the entire data given in the row in a single instance. For example, what I'll do, I'll copy this sheet. Just for the sake of understanding, I'll insert some blank rows. Let me see, like I'll apply this Control Shift N, whether it will include the blank cell, just to demonstrate. Control Shift N. So very important. Many a times, when data is there, I need to do some cleaning work. In that case, or like I need to apply a filter, or I need to apply a table. In case the blanks are there, the data doesn't get selected. For example, imagine I be here, I want to create a table out of this. How to create a table? Anyone? There is something called as Control T. If you observe here, it is taking only to the area where the data is. Are you there? So what's the way out? So I go here, Control Shift N, and now I apply Control T. It is taking the entire row. You can see the ants going on here, right? It has taken the entire row. So this is very important function what we learned. Control plus Shift plus N. What it does? Selects the entire data in the sheet, irrespective of blank cells also. Yeah. One more, I'll just show you. For example, this customer say he is there in the last column. Just to check whether it works or not. So I go here, Control Shift N, even the last data, irrespective of whatever gaps is there, it will go to the end. So very important point. So I'll go here, I'll select the entire data, what we have, Control Shift N, just what we learned. If you go here in the home button, in the home screen, there is something called as Find and Select. And in this Find and Select, there is something called as Go to Special. I would urge always use shortcuts. Why I tell always use shortcuts? Because the efficiency of your work, or the speed of what you're working, always enhances if you use shortcuts. So how to go to how to invoke Find and Select? Press F5. It goes, you get this pop-up box, and there is something called a special. Select this. If you observe here, there are so many functions here. Each function has its own speciality. And there is one function, there is something called as blank. What it does, it will select the blank rows. You may ask me what's the point here, selecting the blank rows? Because here there are blanks here. I want to fill the data. So what I'll do, I'll select is equal to and take the first instance. Don't hit the enter. There is something called as control button. You click the control button and click enter. Bingo. What it does? Oops. It has not taken here. Okay, sorry, my bad. I'll just go again. Control Shift 10 and F5. Special and select blanks. Here is equal to, there is something, and control enter. Yeah. So what it does, control enter. It's entering all the all the fields in a single go. For example, assume that this many cells are there. So I just type my name and press control enter. What happens? Entirely my name is selected. However, I think sorry. I need to within the inverted commas. Control enter. Can you observe here? Where control enter is very powerful. You want something to be applied for the entire sheet or entire selected thing. Control enter. Hope this is useful. This was just a warm up. Just thought to like tell few concepts. Okay. Next thing, what we'll do is I'll select a used case study. It will be very interesting. How many of you know there is something called as, wait, I'll just show you. I'll just open a Excel file. How many of you know there is something called as Power Query? Answer can be yes or no. Yeah, is my screen visible? Someone can they affirm, please? In the chat box, in the chat box, affirm what they can see.
Blank Excel sheet is there, sir.
Yeah, fantastic. That much. Okay. Yes, fine. Okay. So like there is something called as Power Query. I will tell you, like, if you ask me, is there any area, like personally, if you ask me, sir, like what is the area I need to focus on if in order to like make my work so easy, I will suggest there is something called as Power Query. You just have to lay your hands, no matter like, what stage you are there. Even if you are not heard any time about it, I would suggest lay your hands on that. They as the quote says, it is never late to start anything. So now I'll be demonstrating the power of Power Query by some used case. By the way, like, where is Power Query? You go to Data tab. You have all these functions, right? Up to like query and connections. This is called as Power Query. And the surprising thing is, this is there since like 2003. 2009. Sorry, 2009 MS Office. Since then, this feature is there. And you ask probably like when I make a status check with all other colleagues, etc., they say I don't know what is Power Query. So it's not common, like for anyone not to know, but nevertheless, I would suggest as a ASAP, be master of it, or like try to learn this, because it does amazing things. I'll just demonstrate you. So like yeah, I have a client of mine who keeps on giving me data like this. This is HSN summary of my client. Yeah, so he gives me this. Now I need to like pull the data from this into Excel. What typically like anyone does is I'll open like this in a like I go like use a PDF editor or something. From there, like I convert this into an Excel, etc. And like they keep on using. First thing is all the like if it is like a free version, your data is insecure because like you're uploading a client's document. Probably like it is there on the like website because those are not verified. Another issue is even after like getting the report, it will not be that much user friendly. So what is the way out? Using a Power Query, I'll just demonstrate you like how easy to extract this, this PDF into an Excel. What I'll do, I'll just select this folder name and I'll go to this bank Excel. If you see here, there is get data. By the way, Power Query, one thing is always there. There are 3 steps of Power Query. It is called as ETL tool. E stands for extraction. T stands for transformation. And L stands for load back, or load back. So 3 steps. Extraction process means the data is crude. Transformation is the data, whatever the data client gives or like data where I need to like analyze. According to my structure, I prepare, those steps are called transformation. And L is load back. This is called as ETL tool. So by the way, so I'll go to that file where that data is there, where my client has given that HSN code in a PDF. I'll go this get data. there is something called as from file. Here I have multiple options, either from Excel workbook or from text, XML, JSON, PDF, folder, etc. I am selecting this folder. You may ask a question, why not from the PDF? Since it's a PDF document, I'll tell you the logic later. First, let me select the, from the folder. The moment I select this, this wizard comes, asking, import wizard, you can call. So I'll just select the path where that folder is there, the demo folder, and I'll click on open. The moment I click this, it is showing me, this is the file what I have. In this, there are like few buttons, combine, load, transform, and cancel. Combined is like where you have multiple files in a folder. Assume that you have like 5 to 6 files. In that case, you'll use this combine button. Load button, when it is used, when you don't need any transformation to happen, just the data as it is, I load back to an Excel, I can do this. But in this case, I don't know, how my data I need to structure. So what I'll do, I'll click on this transform button. So by this, what happens? The first stage is over. Extraction of data, ETL. The first stage of extraction is done. If you observe here I have something like a content, what the file is, and the name of the file, extension of the file, etc., etc. So I just need the content of the file. I am least bothered about all this other attributes what the file has. So I need to remove. By the way, this is called as Power Query Editor. On the right side, what we have, the applied steps, it will be shown. It's like kind of an audit trail. Whatever steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, it will be documented here. And there is something called as properties. I can name the file here, and the query. It has something called as query and the connection. What is a query and connection? Forget it. For the time being, beginners stage, just assume that this is a Power Query Editor. What it does? Steps to transform your file. So here, apart from this content, I don't need any other files. So what I'll do, I'll right click, remove other columns. If you observe here, all the buttons here are like something to do with you're transforming the data. So I'll remove other columns. And observe here, there is some arrows, 2 arrows there. What these 2 arrows indicate means it has some other, I can push this for more information. So I'll click on this. The moment I got this, it is indicating me that, there is one table which is there, and there is one page which is there. I'll go for the page because some of the information is not there in table. So I'll select this page, click on OK. Now what is happened? The entire data which was there in the PDF got pasted here. If you observe here in the first column, you just see in the first column, it's a detail of the HSN codes what we have. There is something called as null. Null means it doesn't have any data. So which information I am interested? I'm interested in only those fields where HSN code is there. Am I right? So here, just like as you do in a filter, click on this, untick now whichever you don't need. I don't need where null is there. Null means 0 is there. I don't need. It is like only like some information about the client name, his address, etc. I don't need. And go down. The HSN code is there. I need this for the header. Anything which is null, I don't need. Click on this, OK. Can you observe all the whatever the nil was there or the unnecessary information is there, that has gone. Now, if you observe here, there is something called as, ABC, and you have like something like 1, 2, 3 also in some cases. This is the format where that the format of the content of that cells. ABC means it's a text one. So HSN code, it's more like a text. I don't need it as a number because I don't do any analysis. So it's okay. ABC is okay. ABC here also is okay. ABC here also is okay. Rate, I should like change it to like percentage. Yes. And here I have something like a quantity. Quantity is a number, whole number, or it can be like a, yeah, whole number. And by the way, like if you see here, all the steps are getting documented. I filtered row, I've changed the type. If you can see here, that's the beauty of this. Supposing you mess up something, click on this, straight away it goes to the previous step. Are you there? So now if you observe, the first row, the first row has the headers. So here you have like something called as use first row as a header. Straight away this is there. Click on this, automatically like your header is created. Now it's a time for me to like analyze value. See here it is 1.2. Or like it is given as 1.2. That means it includes the fraction of it. That means it's a number. Wherever like a number is fine, it's all right. Like I should only like apply here percentage. Yes. Replace current. Replace current. So my transformation stage is done. Now there is something called as close and load. If you observe here, this is the final step. However, here I have two things. One is close and load and close and load to. What is the difference? For the time being, just close and load. Close and load to is like you create a connection. That is at an advanced level. For the time being, for our use case study, close and load. If you observe, guys, such a fantastic thing. From a Excel file, from a PDF file, we are able to convert this, into this. Now you might tell, okay, what's a big deal? Like I would say, like, as in my opening remark, I said, Power Query is the only thing. Probably like if you ask me, like you need to master it. Why? I'll tell you now. And also, like I selected as a folder. No, why? Because whatever steps you're gonna do, you need not do this next month. Next month, my client gives some data. Just go here. Before that, like I'll just copy this for the sake of understanding. So Control Shift 10. I'll copy here as a value, so that yeah, and I'll go to the folder where that file was there, and I'll replace this with another file. So I'll take out this file, go here, paste it here, and I have November data. It was December data. So like I'll cut this and put this in demo folder. Yeah, and go back to your Power Query file, and there is something called as in data refresh all. Refresh and refresh all. Multiple corrections are there. Refresh all. It is indifferent for you. Like a refresh or refresh all. If it is single connection, you can do both either way. So just click on this refresh. You can see here automatically like this file of the November data was transformed and loaded within just a split of a second. So this is an advantage. This is what I was telling about. Do once, enjoy forever. So next time, probably like any client gives you in a PDF, try to lay your hands on this. It is very, very easy. I'm telling you, like, even say for dummies, or like rookies, or like you're starting off now. It doesn't take much time for you to do this basic stuff. It is very easy. And the beauty of it, it doesn't have any syntax. It's just button clicks, whatever I did, it didn't have a formula. The biggest drawback in a formula is sometimes the syntax, if you get wrong, you're stuck there. Whereas in Power Query, it is more of a button clicks. So it is very easy for you to like understand and go ahead. Yeah. So half an hour is almost done. I'll use one more case study of this Power Query and like take another steps. So okay. Yeah, one more case study. I'll just show you. My client, like I have one data given by my client for the purpose of filing of GST returns. GSTR1 can say. This is the data what I have. It will like have like some hundreds of entries. It's like in a month, like probably like in some cases, like I have like 8,000 to 9,000 vouchers. B2B vouchers where I need to like fill in my GST returns. Fantastic. I mean, like everything is there. But here, one information I don't have. Which information I don't have? How much is the, how much is the percentage wise taxable value? How much is my percentage wise cess I have? The taxes, the CGST, SGST, what I have, I don't have. So through Power Query, I'm just demonstrate you how easy it is to like analyze, like all this data and create our working file. Let's go. So as step, like I don't save. Yeah, as said earlier, I'll just select this folder path. Why I'm selecting the folder path? So that when I do this folder method, do once, use it forever. Meaning like you just have to replace the file. Are you there? So what I'll do in that folder file, only like my working file, I'll just save there. The Power Query working file is there, no? Which has been loaded, transformed and loaded. The final end file is loaded there only. I'll just open that file, replace the content of the file, go and refresh the button. Everything is done by automatic. So in this case, we'll just see how exactly it is done. I go to data, get data from file, from folder. Pardon, I'll just. Go here, select the path, click open. As like repeating, whatever we learned from this thing, straight away to transform data. And all these attributes I don't need. Go here, remove other columns, and click on this button for expanding the data. Yeah, it will just give me a view. This is the data what I have. Click OK. And it is telling like, data is just whatever data is being shown just for the preview. There are many files. Okay, I'm okay. Yeah, as we are doing others, I mean, in the initial, in the previous demonstration, the GSTN of the recipient and the GSTN numbers is the only information which I need, which are relevant. So I'll select this as in like filter and go down. Anything apart from GSTN of the recipient and this GST number doesn't have any value. I can straight away like skip it up. Yep. Okay. Click on this, click on OK. Whatever unwanted data was there, that has been eliminated. I repeat the same process. Use first row as header. Yeah, first row as header. Now here, what I am trying to do, I need to like get the working file, working file, how much is the rate per se, taxable value, CGST, SGST, IGST, and cess. Because tomorrow after a file, if I don't have the data, how much is this thing? I'll be like I'll be stuck. So like I'm preparing a working file for myself using this Power Query. So I'll go to this rate column. Here, in this rate column, there is something called as, one second. Yeah, in this rate column, there is something called as a group by. If you observe here, there is something called as group by. So I'll click on this group by. I have basic and advanced. Since there are more than 2 parameters, I'll go in advanced. On the rate column, what is the thing I want? I want a taxable value. Session 7th August. Taxable value, and I'll go sum. On which column? Taxable value. Are you there? Rate per se, I want a taxable value. Which column? Out of the column which I need to extract taxable value. Add aggregation. I need also like cess. There is a cess. So what is the operation? Sum. Sum of all the cess. You go here, cess. Similarly, I'll add aggregation, IGST. I'll go with sum, and I'll select this IGST column. I go this SGST. I do this repeat SGST, and I go here CGST. CGST. Same sum it will be there, and go with the CGST. Yeah. Click on this OK. Now what has happened? Rate wise, whatever like taxable value, my cess, IGST, SGST, CGST is been summarized. So go here as done in like before, close and load. In a just like how much it and what I did, just the button clicks. This information is got. Now I need like in an ascending order. So like I'll go here, copy here, paste here as a space special values. I need ascending order. What to do in ascending order? Go here, select the data, nothing. Go here in data, there is something called as A to Z. Click on this automatically. Click of a button. You need not select anything, something like this. Now here the fun starts. Now we have created a folder and we did all this Power Query. Now what I'll do, I'll just replace the file in that folder. Let me see like whether it works, whether all these steps, whatever I have done, does it work there? So I go here, I'll select, I'll cut this, keep this here, and I have a sales register of different month. I'll just like, like go here and paste it. And go to the Excel file. As said earlier, refresh all. Can you see here, guys? Already like this is previous month. So I'll put like this is a previous month. And say this present month. Yeah. Go here, select space special values. And as said, like I want to an ascending order A to Z. That's it. You can observe here, the values are different. How much time it took? Split second, just to refresh and keep the data. So what happens is, one time you structure all your data, it is forever. Are you there, guys? So this is, a hang of Power Query. So please, if you ask me like, is there any area where I need to like focus upon, kindly look into this, because this is beautiful. Whatever I am showing, it is just, like what I say, rudimentary or like the basic one of it. Creating connections, I can straight away demonstrate entire tally data. The moment you select any account, the entire transaction gets reflected in an MS Excel. I am not talking about like any paid software or like, maybe there is an idea software, nothing. Just the basic MS Excel, whatever, software features or software I purchase, 70% of all the data I can do through Power Query with this thing. And I'm not exaggerating. Why I need to exaggerate? Because I know like the power of it. So kindly look into this. This is really like a beautiful, like a kind of a thing. Probably like the benefit of it is enduring. Do once, forever. So, okay. This is pertaining to Power Query. Let me show some other concepts which are really useful for us. and later on, like, wind up my presentation. Since like I have only 1 hour. Yeah. Okay. We look up working note file. Yes. Yeah, I have this. Okay, fine, fantastic. Yeah. Many a times what happens? Say assume that this is a 1 second. This is a ledger account of the creditor. Now here the task is I need to calculate the interest. Assume that the interest rate. I'll just put here interest rate is 12%. Assume that 12% of the interest rate I need to put here. Can anyone give me an idea, like like how exactly, like can you show once Power Query? I just did. You want? I mean, let me check with others. Like you want this to be like repeated? What I just saw. Yeah, in the Excel itself, like in Excel data tab, you click on the get data. Yeah, it's there. I mean, like so is anyone wants to like calculate the interest? No, we want to calculate the interest for this ledger account. Can anyone tell me, like like unmute and tell me like how to go? Okay, forget it. No, I'll only tell because considering the time. So you have like first thing I need to do is outstanding balance. For every transaction, I need to like calculate the outstanding balance, right? For the first row, it will be like this one only. Assume that this is a creditor. So creditor, whatever like no, sorry. The previous row total plus whatever credit is there minus whatever debit is there. Go here and how to like apply this same thing. Go and drag it right up to the down. You need not do. You can see here, like if you go at the corner of it, there is something called as doctor button, right? Just click, double click it. No need to like keep on dragging up to the like extent where you need. However, mind you, this works only like where the data is continuous. In case there is a gap in between, it will stop up to the gap, whichever is there. The formula which is there required to be copied, it will apply only to the extent the gap is there. If there is no gap, kindly like use this doctor button. So it's easy. Now I got the outstanding balance. Here, the one of the biggest challenge I have is there is something called as I mean, if you observe, 2-4 has multiple entries. 3-4 also like has multiple entries. Now getting the closing balance. See why? Because interest is calculated not on transaction per se. Am I right? It is done on the year end. I mean day end. Day end ka jitna like balance hai, whatever balance is there, that will be considered as the base, right? Exactly. So like now the challenge is I need to get the day end balance. So before that, if you observe, I have like the time up to like 1/4/2023 to 7/6/2023. Are you there? So like 1/4/2023, my cutoff date is 1/4/23. Shucks. Yeah, 7/6/23. So what? How many days will come? April, how many? 30. May is 31, right? Yeah. June is 7 days. So totally like this many days, I need to like calculate the interest. Now I need like 68 days of interest to be calculated. Now what I'll do? So like 1/4. Sorry. 1/4/23. Yeah, go here, drag up to 68 times, right? Up to the 68th column. No, that is not the smart way. The smart way is like I'll put 1 here. Go here. There is something called as in the home button. There is something called as fill series. Fill. You have series. You have like a column. Since I want like 68 entries, start value is like 1 and stop value is 68. Click OK. Can you observe? 68 has come. Go here, as I said, you can feel, I mean, you can find the doctor symbol, right? Click, double click this. Automatically, like, up to the 68th day, it is copied. You need not like keep on dragging it for 68 or 365 days or 500 days, whatever. Just double click it. That is the way, smart way. Now, this is the date, and I need like outstanding balance for the day end. Now, here lies the challenge. Can I apply a pivot? Let me see, like as I said, Control Shift N, what it does, it selects the like entire data. I'll select only the data which is there. Go to Insert, Pivot Table. I will tell you, pivot table is the maximum used feature in Excel, and it's fantastic. I mean, like what basically it does, it summarizes the data based on percentage, whatever, like analysis you want, like it will summarize. I want it in a new worksheet. Yes, let me go to the new worksheet. I want like day wise, how much is my outstanding balance? Sorry, hang on. How much is my outstanding balance? Day wise here, like I'll ungroup it. Yes, this is the sum of outstanding balance. However, one problem I have, if you go click here, it is taking the aggregate of this thing. See, pivot table, what it does, it doesn't give you the last, outstanding balance. It will it will group the entire, whatever day transaction is there, it will group it. Are you there? So I cannot apply pivot table for this. So pivot table doesn't work. In order for me to like get my, how much is my outstanding balance, I cannot use pivot table. Now here lies the catch, there is something called as index and match. How many of you know there is a formula called index, and there is a formula called match. I'll tell you, many of you, if I ask like which is your favorite formula for many, they say VLOOKUP. Am I right? Probably like for you also, like if I ask if I make a poll and give VLOOKUP, will have the maximum answers. Am I right? I will tell you, index and match in this, if you both use together, VLOOKUP like is nothing before this. I can demonstrate like one entire session in that only. For the time being, there is something called as match. I'll use this something called as match is equal to match. What it does, it looks up something and it tells you like the row number where it is. Are you there? So I want this match to be like looking up for the 114, where I need to like look in this. So I'll select the entire thing. There is something called as I need to make this absolute. If you click F4, it makes absolute. Why? Because I'm copying this formula. When I copy this formula, the reference should not change. That's why like I made it as a string, F4. So, okay. Now here, there is something called as less than match or like exact match or greater than match. I will here apply, there is something called as greater than match. Why I'll apply greater than match? Because if there is like, contradictory, for example, 2, 4, it goes and matches here. It has a match here also. I want which one? The greater of the one, because it's coming on the later stage. Are you there? So I'll use -1 here. Yeah. I'll use -1. Yes. So oops, something I missed. Sorry. Match. I look up this value. Like here, F4. Yeah. I'll use like less than match. Let me see. Yeah, I'm using less than match. It is giving me like, 2. Okay. I'll go here. As I said, you need not copy for the entire thing. Just go here. You find the doctor symbol, double click it. It is telling me like, the row number. What is the row number it is telling? It is telling the where the row number is there. So what I'll do, I'll insert a column. I'll tell like a row number. So first one will be like 1 is equal to 1 plus 1. That will be 2. So go here, double click on this. Automatically, like it will give you like entire, row numbers. So it will tell if you if you analyze here, 1,4, it is telling like second is the value. Second is the outstanding balance value. If you observe here, the second row is the like outstanding amount for the 1,4. Am I right? Similarly, you go for 2,4. It is on the fourth column, fourth row. The outstanding balance is on the fourth, right? So like I'll just show you the formula text. The match is I'm matching this and trying to find out the which row that amount is there. Why I'm trying to like bring that row? Because I need to look up to the outstanding balance. Are there? So okay. Now the outstanding balance. There is something called as index. This is like Laila and Majnu. Index and match together only they are powerful. If it is used like only one doesn't make any sense. So I'll use index. What index does? It asks me array. This outstanding balance is my array which I want. I'll make this absolute F4. What I need to like get the row number 2. So it is bringing me the balance in the row number 2. Are you there? In the row number 2, Joe balance, that is the closing balance that is just bringing. Go here, as I said, double click it. Automatically, you are getting here the balances. Let us check. For 2, it is like 4. The balance matches here. For third, it is 12th. For 12th, outstanding balance is 565. Yes. Fourth, there is a gap. In spite of that, it is taking and matching me like the less than. I mean, like it is taking me the next day. Next day, if it is 0 means it is bringing me the same balance. Are you there? Yes. Now I got the outstanding balance. It is very easy for me to apply interest. Okay, interest, sorry. So go here, outstanding balance into like 12%. I'll make this constant F4 into 1 by 365. Why? Because it is for the day. Am I right? So go here. Every day interest is calculated. Fantastic. Now I have another challenge. Now I need to like know monthly how much is my interest. For this, there is something called as text function. If you see here, text is one of the beautiful function what we have. What it basically does is equal to text. What it does is any date related, you can structure it as you need. For example, there is something called as like 2024. If your client uses GSTR1 data, giving the date as here like this, you cannot use this, in that file. It has a syntax, That's where I'll use this text in order to like, which is the data I need to like select the data and which format I need. I need DD, MMM, because in GSTR1, it doesn't take 04. It will take APR. If you and YY. So I need in this format. So this, what it does, it will select me any date. I can manipulate it to what I need. Are you there? So here, same thing I'll use, month. So I'll use text function, select this date, and what I want MMM. Why I'm selecting 3M is I want APR or something. If I select 4Ms, it will give me April, May, etc. The full form. Are you there? If I select 2Ms, 04, 05, something like that. Are you there? So go here, go to this doctor symbol, select this entire, like months have come. Now I need to like just, summarize month. So April, May and June. For 3 months only, like we have data. So 3 months and what is the interest? So interest, how to like get the interest? There is something called as a function called SUMIF. There you go, SUMIF, the range. It's asking me the range. Very important. It is the range of what you have. Never, there is a difference between SUMIF and SUMIFs. SUMIFs, what happens? What is the thing you are totaling? That comes first. In SUMIF, what is the thing you're looking? I am looking in this column. I'll make this F4. What is the criteria? I want this criteria. Criteria is April. And what is the sum range? The sum range is the interest. Am I right? I'll make this F4, making it absolute. Click OK. Now, as I said, just go here, you find the doctor symbol, add it. The total interest. The total interest in this thing has come. Let's check alt is equal to the total interest. It's matching. Are you there? So this is how it's done. I can do this with Power Query also. So I would suggest, like lay your hands in Power Query. Use this, like one time you're gonna like organize everything. Later on, the benefit will be enduring. So I can see like 6:55 in my watch. I will wind up because I can go on and on. Like probably like how many sessions you want, like that much content I can give you. Just in VLOOKUP only, like I can create like at least 4 to 5 hours of deliberation I can tell. So with this, as I said earlier, my job is not to like teach you, but make you kind of open up, like your perspective, open up your perspective. That's hope so, like, I've achieved at that. With this, like I stop my presentation. I would reserve, like probably like Roopa. Yeah, we both are there. Any queries, to be directed to both of us, kindly, like, like we'll take some time and wind it up. And by the way, like just one more minute, Roopa. Yeah. Yes. By the way, like this is my contact number and my mail address. Any like doubts you have about MS Excel per se or anything related to technology, kindly like drop it up. So I would be like very, very great, to help you. Why? Because only like if I solve problem, then only like my takeaway comes. I believe so. So with this, let's go to the Q&A session. Yes. Anyone has a query or something, like kindly like open up. Hope so, like you guys like able to comprehend what I just said, what I just demonstrated. So there is a quote, silence is tantamount to acceptance. So the response is silence means it is presumed that you guys know whatever, or it can be otherwise also. Hope so, like you have to be optimistic. So hope so, like you guys understood like what exactly I said. Yes. So nothing is there. Can we like wind up or something? Over to organizers, please. We are waiting for your call, sir. Yeah, probably like yeah. I understand, like it's only 1 hour session. Something like this, like to wish. I mean, the biggest qualm in like having a technical session is technical session more takeaways come if it is an hands-on session. Meaning like each one at different level. I'll be like I do this, for advanced ITT students. I go there, see each of them, and thereby like guide them. Probably like like 1 hour session, it is not possible. So like whatever best of thing is there, I just tried. Yeah. Can we wait? I mean, like one more minute before anyone asks something, and anyone wants to like ask me, can ask any question, either to Roopa madam or like me. Open up, kindly. We are awaiting for your response. Actually, like reserved, like 5 minutes, or else like I would have taken one more, some other topic, which requires only 5 minutes. Yes.
Any doubts? Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you both the speakers.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay,
Okay,
then.
madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.